Okay, take two. Got partway through my recording, and cats came scrambling down the basement, banging into the door, people screaming at the cats. Oh, fun, fun, fun. Anyway, so there was a little bit of disconnect between my notes for the last session and what everybody else remembered, and the actual map, which is in the live play. There are three priests with us, and they're concerned about the evil portents of Raymond's visions, dreams, etc. Um, and we figured out it takes about 9 days to get from Karst to our old base camp. And Wes is, or I am tracking these days because Wes has been practicing his dexterity skill, trying to get it to increase. He's missed like 4 rolls now, and every 150 days he gets to try again. But as soon as he gets to 16, he can actually attack twice around, once with the rapier and follow up with the dagger. So it'll be fun when that happens. Anyway, still got a bit of stuff from flu and science effects from last week. Okay, so we get to the base camp. We can see smoke rising in the distance, and Raymond says something about bubbles. We're going bubbles, bubbles, bubbles. He met Emerald, my my pseudo dragon familiar, I guess. But anyway, and we had a little discussion about how much. I mean, it's been about a year now. How much can we communicate and that kind of stuff. She doesn't use words, so there's still ideas, impressions, and pictures and stuff. So I asked her to go and check out the fires, see what's there, and then we head on up further on to where the underground farmhouse where the white was that we always camp at because it's getting late at that point. And then we get up in the morning and head into the caves. But there's discussion about how we found this and the Drugar that was there, and Captain Krim's a little concerned. She doesn't want to really spend the night in a white infested farmhouse, nor does she want to camp out in the open with raiders nearby. Oh, when we get to the farmhouse, Emerald is there waiting, and she conveys, okay, that the smoke was off, many campfires, many people, lots of horses. So we figure there's some kind of a raiding force something there, and then there's some questions. Well, were they wearing armor? Did they have any livery on them? She's not going to pay attention to that kind of thing. But I tried to get that across to her, and she didn't remember anything. Um, so we decide we're going to just march on through the night to get to the caves to rest there. As they're going along, Raymond gets this feeling of angst. Something not good is happening. Hurry, 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 kind of thing. So we get to the caves. We go up to cave number L. And I think this runt was checking out and spots giant spider tracks. So we go inside. We get to the little temple area, and there's some discussion about the doors closed. Did we leave it open? Did we close it? That kind of thing. Well, of course we would close it, I would think. But then there's Hjalmar's in front, so he goes to open the door, and as he does, he gets stung by something. He pulls his hand back and he runs over to him. Am I poisoned? Am I poisoned? I figured it was a poison needle kind of thing. And Runt goes and checks out. Sure enough, there is a needle, and it's been stuck to the handle with webbing. And so a little quick discussion on this. Sounds like the Spider Witch Dro lady. And she was here before because she was getting slaves from here, and so there might be something going on. And Hjalmar goes ahead and opens the door, and 4 giant spiders jump out and attack. We dispatched them fairly quickly. I know Wes got a couple of lightning bolts into one of them. It feels like a D6 is not enough for 2 magic points when I get a D4 with 1 magic point with the shock bolt. So there's, but it is what it is. I'll continue to run with it. So we kill the 4 giant spiders. We go down. There's some discussion about fatigue and stuff too, and that just went off the rails. Some of it was good because we're looking through BRP on encumbrance and fatigue and how that all works. And there's 2 separate rules. And while the rules mention each other, see page 118, see page 24, neither of them actually specifically specify how the other interacts. Now it used to be in RQ3, strength of constitution is your um, fatigue number, right? And you subtracted your encumbrance from that, and then the difference is how many rounds of combat or strenuous stuff you could do without an effect. But if you go to encumbrance, you see that your encumbrance is for short times no more than your strength. For long-term things, the average of your strength constitution. So very vague writing, unfortunately. Um, it doesn't really give you a number, but we're assuming okay, it's this average number again. Um, but if you're a normal person, uh, 12 and 13, so average 12 again. And you're wearing chain, which is an encumbrance of 20, you're at -8 on your encumbrance, which according to the little table thing at the bottom is -40% on your skills, -8 on your movement, I think it was. There's like 4 or 5 things that for every point over your encumbrance, you get these huge minuses. Something's not quite adding up. And it was really frustrating for a couple of the characters, or players rather. So there's a big long discussion, and it actually may be in the live play. There was another discussion where I just cut it out, so I didn't worry about it. Um, but because we're going downstairs, and Hjalmar felt like he had to sit down and wait for 5 minutes because he got exhausted from fighting for 4 melee rounds. But anyway, so we go down to the temple area. There's the altar. We move the altar, go down underneath, and there's the room, and then there's a hallway, and then there's another altar, and that's where the gate is. And we go through the gate. And Raymond used a point of channeling in the channels list, I believe it was, which gave him direction on this is where you need to go for the little leaf. And then Hjalmar goes through first, and then who's next, who's next, who's next, and just before Wes says, "Oh, I think Krim and the priest should go through, and then we'll fall at the back." Krim says, "I'm going." So they go through, and then Wes and everybody else kind of thing. So we come into the temple area, and again, it's underwater. There's this kind of wavy motion going on, and stuff's being destroyed, and there are fishmen here. Um, there's up to hour left is the oracle room, and in the oracle room is this pulsing sickly green miasma that pulses with the wave motion in the water here. And far off behind that is a bright bluish light that seems to be pushing back against the miasma, but it's getting weaker and weaker. It's diminishing. Every once in a while, though, it'll flare a bit. So there are two fishermen here. Um, uh, Krim has an area around her that's breathable water. We can see in. Outside it's all murky and stuff. There's two fishermen there. Everybody moves. We go to attack. Um, One of them swims away. So we move to the oracle doorway, and there's more fishermen in front, and I'm assuming fishermen behind. Um, so Wes casts a sudden light just behind the entrance way of the doorway, so it'll catch the front guys. And sure enough, there's like 10 of them, and a whole bunch of them miss their saving throws for the stun on the sudden light. Like some were like for 7 or 8 rounds even. It was massive. I was surprised about that. Um, Rayman had initially moved forward to attack, but he's getting this feeling of the avatars asking him to give her his energy, magic points. And so he pulls back. Krim moves up to block fishmen from attacking him and to attack them back, kind of stuff. And then Raymond tries to do this channeling magic points thing. And it turns out that there is a priestess who is channeling magic points to Raymond, and the two other priests are channeling magic points to her, channel to Raymond. So Raymond gives 13 magic points, leaves him with one, and then 13 more come in. Okay, this is how it works. And Wes has tapped, at least at this point, tapped into Emerald's magic vision stuff, and so he can see all these connections, people sending magic places and stuff, and so he is. Well, I'm thinking, well, maybe this is kind of like RQG worship, where when you worship a deity, you sacrifice magic points or donate magic points, that kind of thing. And so he asks, is it? Well, maybe, yeah. He makes a worship roll, missed. He tries again a second time and missed. And the third time, Emerald is like poking at him with her stinger tail, which apparently she's been stinging me with over time, kind of like love bites from cats, I guess. Um, so he decides to use meditation to focus his efforts. He was successful on that. And he makes his worship roll, and so he can give magic points to the priestess, which is, he's reaching out to touch her to do that because he's right there by her. And I can also tell that Emerald has a power of 14, and I can access her magic points now. So I snagged 7 from her and 6 from me. It's half of each. So that's 13 points that I hand off to the priestess. But she wasn't ready for it because she's already handling 13 points from everybody else. And so there's this huge overload. And I can actually hear them in my head at this point because we're making these connections on this magic stuff. And she's like, hold it, hold it, hold it, hold it, hold it. And so she takes my 13 points and gives it to Raymond. And then she starts getting the other points and stuff. So we end up giving the Avatar close to like 60 magic points once all is said and done. Okay. Before Wes starts doing this magic point thing, he casts. Oh, there was when he did the sudden light, he got a critical success on his scan roll, so he could see the demon on the far side. The demon-like inky insectoid-like creature, kind of like a demon, but more like the giant praying mantis from the desert planet when we were doing Far Horizons. So there's this moment of clarity where he recognizes that from his past or alternate reality or whatever we want to call it, and we do the whole skill thing, but it was something he already had, so he doesn't get anything out of it. Okay, so after the flashbang, Wes casts sleep 10 because there's like 9 of them, and puts a whole bunch of them to sleep as well, so that we could try and get through, right? And he says, "Demon, get the demon, get the demon." Oh, there was the reason he could not say that beforehand. Um, I believe it was Krim drawing her sword. No, it couldn't be. Something happened. There's something where we're in air now instead of the water, so we can actually, or maybe it's just pointing to get the demon. There was a part of that too going on. But anyway, match points to the Avatar. Meditation. Okay. Okay, so at some point here towards the end, the Avatar has enough energy to just push the water out. So we're all in air now, like when we first came down here before. And that causes all the fishmen to flee. And she's charging up, she's healing herself and charging up temple defenses. So we'll essentially have a plus 10 offense and plus 10 defense. Um, the stunned and sleeping fishmen are all killed. And we're getting ready to go in to the Oracle room when we realized it was nearly 1 o'clock in the morning for me, so we had to quit. That was it. A lot of fun. A whole lot of talking and learning and stuff. I got a few notes for my character sheet, and advancements occur. Happy gaming.